Welcome. We have Easter happening this weekend, and I wanted to go through a few things quickly to help you prepare your dog for what may be an exciting and potentially stressful weekend. The holidays in general can be a lot for our dogs. So much of what I'm going to cover here applies to anything, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, any type of event, even if you're just hosting a big party at your house. These can be exciting times for us. They're really busy. So by understanding things from our dog's perspective, we can ensure that it's safe and successful for everyone, that everyone can enjoy this. Part of the thing with the dogma difference, and something that we consider to be really important with our relationship with our dogs, is that we include them in our activities. You know, with a holiday coming, our dogs can be an active participant. We understand how to ensure that they're feeling safe and comfortable. We introducing slowly to them. We think about things from their perspective, and it allows them to really enjoy that time with us. Our goal is to help dogs be successful in their families and the busy human world. Understanding how holidays affect them is a big part of this. So some of the challenges for your dog that they may face during this time is that it can be quite a stressful experience. Everything seems rather normal to us. We know what to expect. We can understand this, we can communicate it. For our dogs, suddenly there's a whole level of excitement. Things are busy, there may be new people over, perhaps just the houses we're cleaning, preparing for guests, cooking. It just can become very busy. Schedules change, perhaps it's not stressful at all and it's not exciting because things really slow down. Perhaps you have the long weekend, things are just going to settle and you're actually spending more time with your dogs. Regardless, there's a change in things, and for some dogs this can be a lot. There's also some dangers that come with the holidays, particularly with Easter. So I'm going to cover some of those so that we can ensure that our dogs are safe. It's also important to understand that your dog, when they may be showing excitement, showing, reactivity, perhaps that there's increased levels of fear, it's a sign that they're struggling. And so by preparing things, we can ensure that we're setting them up for success and that they can enjoy the holiday. So how do we set them up for success? We're going to go through a few things because it's really important. Again, understanding your dog's communication. So if you're a Dogma member, you can go into your membership online. There's bonus webinars, and we have one called Dog Talk. This is a critical one for all dog owners. If you're not a member, this one is available to purchase through our website, and it goes through everything in canine communication. It's really important so that we can understand our dogs. Typically, we don't recognize signs of stress until they've elevated, and our dogs are in a situation where they've got to show increased signs of maybe defensiveness or fear. We can avoid those situations by understanding what our dog is communicating so we can set things up better for them, remove them from the situation, or just prepare things differently. We're going to go through a few ways that you can start that now. The best thing you can do for your dog, particularly if over the holidays or Easter you're having a bunch of people over, is ensuring that your dog has a nice quiet space. This is away from the activities. It's great because it's important to give them time just for some of that downtime where they can spend some quiet time, not be struggling with some of that excitement and everything from all of the activities. Yes, many of our dogs enjoy this time where they can be a part of these activities, but it's also important that we want to make sure that we don't overtire them, don't cause over arousal, don't kind of stack things up on them that they may show some elevated excitement, frustration, or even concerning behaviors such as fearful or aggressive responses. With the quiet space too, the one thing I should mention is we want to prepare them for that. So make sure now that you're introducing it slowly, you're making sure that it's a good positive for them. We're launching this just a few days before Easter. If your dog's not comfortable on their own, don't just throw them into a space on their own because that may actually elevate the stress and cause more frustration. So make sure that you're preparing things for them. Perhaps giving them that quiet time may just mean that you need to enjoy that time with them to ensure that they get some rest as well. When they're in these spaces, stocking up with chews and interactive toys are also really important. Often I see with people, we get frustrated with our dogs with the excitement. So there's lots of bustling, you're trying to clean, maybe cook, do things, and your dog's underfoot. And this can cause a lot of frustration. That's unfair to our dogs because they're just responding to the activity. They're elevated and they're not sure what's happening. So it's really unfair for us to express any frustration towards them during those times. So we can help them by giving them that quiet space, directing them to an area where they can settle, but also pairing it with things like choose and interactive toys. I'm okay if they get a few extra during these times, because when I'm cooking and stuff, or I'm doing something to keep my dog out from under feet, I can give them to keep something to keep themselves occupied and happy. A lot of these things are also great stress relievers too, and help actually calm and settle your dogs. You want to ensure that you're still giving them adequate exercise. Sometimes when we get busy, this gets put to the side. So have a plan in place. If you've got a bunch of people coming over, perhaps you need to take them out for some exercise beforehand to tire them out. Be aware of your dog's needs with this as well. Some dogs going to the off-leash park may elevate them, and so they may be even more excited. So perhaps I need to do that earlier in the day. Other dogs, we could take them out for a nice structured walk. Perhaps you do a nice decompression walk and let them have lots of sniffs. You just don't want to remove this exercise piece. This is also a great way to give them that quiet time away from the activities. Even if your dog hasn't shown concerning behavior, this is just nice courtesy to them. If I have a young dog, maybe a dog that's new to the household or the puppy, this is a really great proactive step as well to ensure that these situations are positive for them and we don't cause any concerning behaviors because of these activities. Make sure you have a plan in place on how your dog's going to fit into the activities as well. So if you're planning something like a scavenger hunt, are you going to have your dog there? Is someone responsible for supervising them? Are you going to utilize something like a leash so they're not getting into trouble and causing upset? Perhaps these are times where we take them on the walk while the kids are doing an activity or they're in their quiet space. You want to make sure that you're planning for how they're going to fit in. If you don't want them underfoot at the table, and that's something that they normally practice when you're at home, it's unrealistic to expect them just to do the opposite behavior if you haven't spent the time training them on it. So start thinking about some areas that may be challenging and how you're going to fit them in. You're welcome to contact us too if you're not sure how to handle certain situations or what would be best for your dog. But I want us to consider it. Don't wait until the situation happens. If you're feeling frustrated towards your dogs, it's a sign that you haven't planned accordingly and made the space so that it's safe and comfortable for them, and they just don't know what to expect. So it's up to us to ensure that we're planning accordingly and we're making sure that they know what's expected and we can turn this situation into a positive. For young or new dogs, this can be a great training experience for them as well. So again, you can tell we're always wanting to consider things from their perspective. What are their needs? I find it really concerning how often with our dogs we get frustrated or view them as being disobedient, stubborn, dominant, all these other inappropriate labels that we use for them, when often our dogs just need some guidance from us. We want to be fair to them, understand that this is a lot. So what can you do to help them settle, help them feel comfortable, keep them busy, show them what's expected of them, reward that behavior you want to see more of, and make sure that they're getting some good rest and settled throughout the activities. So I'm going to show you a quick skill here. Place is a great skill to have for these types of events. Yes, it may be a little close to the holiday, but that doesn't mean you can't start preparing for other times that you may be having people over. Place is great. If I'm teaching my dog to sit and lie quietly on a bed and they stay there, this keeps them out from the kitchen when I'm cooking. It keeps them away from the table when we're eating. It can keep them away from the doorbell when guests are there, so we don't risk them running out or jumping all over guests or practicing inappropriate behavior. It allows a spot where your dog stays nicely while other activities are going on and that they feel comfortable and happy being there. So I'm going to show the video and then it goes through the steps. We also have some handouts or anything. So again, feel free to contact us if you have questions.
Introducing place. Say go to your place and then toss a treat onto your dog's place. This can be a bed or a blanket. Once all four paws are on their place, immediately say yes and reward. Start to always ask your dog to lie down when you tell them to go to their place. To remove the lure, face away from your dog's place with your dog in front of you. Say go to your place and turn to look at their place. Your dog should follow your gaze, and when all four paws are on their place, immediately say yes and reward. Release your dog before they leave their place. Begin to increase your distance away from the place when you cue your dog. Slowly build up the time that your dog stays on their place. Vary the time spent on their place. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. Start out with just a couple of seconds and work up to 5 minutes. Intermittently reward them through praise and offering food for staying on their place. Remember to ask your dog to lie down when they're on their place. This will become automatic. Always release your dog before they leave their place. Tips for success. Work in multiple locations. If you always practice place in one location, your dog will think it's the location of the place versus the place, the bed, or the blanket itself.
Okay, so we love this skill. This is something that transfers with our dogs, and we take their beds or blanket with us everywhere. If we're going to a dog-friendly patio, if we're taking our dog to houses, camping, if we're out at new places with our dog, even just at home. And the key is, again, that you want to vary it, move it around multiple places, practice with distractions, and it becomes this nice spot that they know they go and they lie down and they're happy and content to do so. It becomes a great management tool, but it also becomes a great tool just to help your dog in a variety of situations. They know what's expected of them. They love doing it. So a really, really important skill to practice for all situations, not just for the holidays or with Easter coming up this weekend. So I want to go through a few things about safety, because with the holidays, there's always an elevated risk towards our dogs. It's important that we just understand what we need to do to be proactive to keep our dogs safe and ensure that it can be a fun time for everyone and we don't have any unfortunate accidents. So think about chocolate. This is always a big one for dogs. We see chocolate at many holidays. So keep chocolate out of reach. Make sure that if you are enjoying it and your dog is around, that you don't leave any of it out. It just takes a quick second for our dogs to inhale that. Usually it's quality chocolate, higher value chocolate with high content of cocoa that is more dangerous to our dogs. But be aware that any chocolate, regardless of size, can cause stomach upset, be potentially fatal. So if your dog does ingest chocolate, contact your vet immediately on what you should be doing, or maybe take them immediately to emergency. Other treats can be dangerous. It can cause upset. Xylitol is an ingredient that we're seeing more that is like a reduced sugar sweetener often. So it may be in some diet products. It's also labeled as birch syrup. So you want to be aware of the ingredients and items. Don't give your dog anything unless you're aware of what's in it to ensure that it's nothing that could be harmful to them. If they are enjoying stuff, this is where providing them with their own treats is nice, just so you don't risk any stomach upset or anything. Even with the added excitement, this can make them more prone to some tummy upset. Flowers, some of our Easter flowers can be poisonous to our dogs. So again, if you do have flowers in the house, you have them up high out of reach. Don't rely on supervision. So sometimes people may put it on the side table or something, and they assume that they're going to supervise their dogs and they don't need to worry about it. But things get busy with the holidays, and it's unrealistic to expect that we're going to be able to supervise our dogs all the time. So the best thing to do is just to ensure that they're in a spot that you can still enjoy them, but they're out of reach of your pets. Decorations too. So if you have a young dog, they may be in a chew stage still, they may be exploratory that way. Sometimes even with the added excitement, we may see an increase in chewing behaviors as your dogs may be under a bit of stress. And so making sure they've got appropriate items, you're rotating them, you're keeping it exciting for your dogs, but that decorations are also out of reach. Again, don't rely on that supervision, particularly with younger dogs, but it doesn't mean that an older dog might not become interested in something and just start to kind of experiment or explore it with their teeth. So best to keep things out of reach. Some of those things can have small things or various parts on the decorations that could be really dangerous to our dogs if ingested. So you're best to keep them up out of reach. Supervision, again, this is the key. Giving your dog, that's where place is a really nice thing, because they've got a spot where you know they're going to be, where they are comfortable. Putting them in a quiet space, making sure you've done that alone training, that they're comfortable in that space, that it's enjoyable for them and positive and stress-free. But if they're out with you, otherwise you're supervising. If you're having children to the house, that should always be supervised. You know, even if your dog is great with your children, or they got a history of being good with kids, you never want to leave them unsupervised, because we've got excitement, sugar, all of these things that can be adding a lot of excitement and can lead to some unfortunate situations. So best to ensure you're always supervising. If you can't, you've got your dog in a safe area. Otherwise, we hope you have a very happy Easter. If you have questions at all, email us at training@dogmatraining.com. Thank you.